Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is there anything that you want the court to consider?
Yeah, so I've read the recommendation. I think the recommendation is spot on, Judge. I think that it's considerate not only of the circumstances which led to this, but also of the person who is the byproduct of where we're at today. And talking to Jen, I think I would appreciate the court looking at the person who made that decision in that moment. I think that's important. I think you always have to do that. But I also think it's important in this case to think of and consider the person who sits before you today. In that regard, I asked her, and I said, if you could do this over, sometimes this is a dangerous question, but if you could do this over, would you do the same thing? And she says, well, I don't want to say that because it doesn't seem like I'm, sorry about what I did. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't have done some of the things that I'm doing now. This recommendation, Judge, was littered with letters of support. I'm quite certain the court's had a chance to read and review those. I can tell you that in my dealings with Jen, I see a remorseful person. I see someone who has always taken responsibility from the sentencing forward. I think that is indicative of this recommendation that is in this pre-sentence investigation report as well. When this happened, Judge, this is a time in Jennifer's life when she wasn't proud of the decision she made. I think people do and say lots of things that they wish they had back in a breakup situation. I know that she's embarrassed. I know that it's affected her. Been working on her mental health. I think that is evident. I also know that she's been on bond, has not had any other incidents that I'm aware of while she's been on bond. Been quite some time since we've been back here, several months, in fact, Judge. So I would ask the court to consider the letters of recommendation. I think, again, the recommendation is appropriate. I would ask the court to follow that. And part of it, too, Judge, is that there's a rather lengthy term of probation, which the court's going to impose. And that is yet another opportunity for Jen to not just tell you who she is, but prove who she's become and that she isn't the person that at least in this incident, she appeared to be on paper. Your Honor. So I would ask that the court follow the recommendation. Thank you.
Anything that you want to say on your own behalf?
Well, I would like to start by apologizing to Nicholas for the hurt and disruption that I caused in his life. I'm not proud of getting to a point where I would hurt somebody that I loved the way that I did him, for breaking our vows and ruining our marriage. I hurt a lot of people that day. That when I chose to make the decision that I did, I hurt a lot of people. I am truly embarrassed about that and very sorry. He said, I'm not proud of what I did. I am proud of the person that I've become because of these things. Being able to turn my life around and turn to faith and get back on the right track. I've worked really, really hard through my therapy, my group therapy, with my church family, just being able to help the community more, things like that. I don't think that these are things that I would have been doing hadn't something like this happened. As awful as it may sound to say, I feel like me hitting rock bottom is something that needed to happen to become who I am. And I'm truly sorry for all of it.
The court follow along with the plea agreement in this case and allow that plea to stand and sentencing to go forward today. Nicholas Plumhoff is the victim in this case. He is present in the courtroom today and he would like to make a statement.
Oh, good. Mr. Plumhoff, would you come forward, please?
So it's been a long time. I've been trying to think what I wanted to say when we finally got to this point. And it's just so much more to me than just like trying to get me in trouble. Over the last 5 years, I have worked so hard to get out of the things that I was doing that put me in prison. And for, going back and spending weeks looking at all the messages that went back and forth and how malicious it was. I had one day and made one bad decision. She did this for weeks and weeks. I've read the messages And for her to say the only thing he cares about is this job at the recovery center, and I want to take it from him. I worked so hard to get away from my background, to have a job where I could help people and make a difference and not be another statistic and not end up back in prison or on the streets. And to just think that someone that said they loved me could just say, or even, you know, I could see her saying it, but weeks and weeks of pushing it, messaging him, well, she was at my house, now's the time to do it. I know where his car's at now. Like, I don't understand. I know what it's like to need to get incarcerated. If I wouldn't have went to prison, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have taken the time to get the help that I needed, you know? And I don't think one day in jail is ever going to stop her from doing this to someone else. If it wouldn't have happened the way it would, I might not be here right now. I might be back in prison. I might have ruined my career. I might have lost everything, and no one would have believed me. No one. If it wasn't for the one that turned in the messages and having them documented, no one would have ever known, and I would have been gone. And that's not fair. That's not right. That to just try to take someone's life into your hands and throw it away because you had a bad day. I would understand if I treated her poorly, if I put my hands on her, if I was mean to the children, none of that effort. And to have someone just want to hurt me like that, I can't imagine being that broken of a soul to want to hurt someone that bad. What's the worst part is I don't hate her. I just want her to get help. For her, for the kids, for whoever she comes in contact in the future. Because the person who did that, she's not where she needs to be. One thing that I guess it probably doesn't matter because it wasn't reported, but just not even a month ago, she was at a restaurant and ran into my niece and threatened to beat her ass in the middle of the restaurant with her children there, in front of everybody. So whatever gains and progress that she's made, she's not where she needs to be yet. And I hope that you guys can help her do that.
Well, a couple of questions for you, sir. How did you meet Ms. Plumhoff?
We met through my little sister. They were acquaintances.
Okay. I only have a little bit of the police report. How do you know how Ms. Plumhoff came in contact with the person that was incarcerated that she wanted to set you up? Do you know how she knew that individual?
The way it was explained to me is when me and her got together, she was in a relationship with that person. And when me and her made it official or whatever, she broke it off with him because he's in prison. What is he going to do? You know, all she has to do is not answer the phone. So that was her boyfriend, I guess, up until I had got with her.
Anything else that you want to say, sir?
I just want to thank the court for whatever it is they're going to do. And hopefully I'll have a peace of mind for a little while because obviously I'm a mess. Like I literally moved 3 hours away to not have to worry about running into her at a store or anywhere, you know what I mean? Because of, I don't know. I worked in Nuevo for a little while in one of the recovery centers that was up here, and going through a drive-through, I had a girl let me know that she was still trying to mess with me and that this was my number and this is where I lived. And so I just don't want to have to worry anymore. I'm a grown man. I shouldn't be crying over what this woman could do to me.
Thank you, sir. All right, the court recognized that the advisory guidelines in this case would suggest a sentence between 0 and 11 months. Courts can exercise my discretion and is consistent with the advisory guidelines, consistent with the plea agreement in this case. Would be the sentence of the court that this defendant served 120 days in the Nuevo County Jail. I'll give her credit for the 1 day that she served so far. I'm going to place her on probation for 2 years. There is a $30 per month probation oversight fee for regular probation, $60 a month for electronic monitoring or tether. There is a $68 state cost assessment, $130 crime victims' rights fund fee, and a $60 DNA fee. Those financial assessments can be paid within 90 days of her release from jail. I can't think of anything more vile than what you try to do to that man. Number one, you knew his history with addictions, and to try and use that against him. Number two, trying to prevent him from helping other people, trying to engage some other inmate to ruin this man's life. And he's right. If you had any idea how many people come in here with possession of drugs and say, they weren't mine, somebody planted on me, everybody, the police, the prosecutor, the court, we all go, yeah, right. People just don't plant drugs on other people. And that was your plan. As he indicated, it wasn't just a fly-by-night thing, one time, call somebody up, oh no, I forget it. It was time after time, message after message. You actually paid the money, as I understand it, to have this done. I just can't, really words don't express how vile those acts are. And you try to separate the acts from the persons, but you're the one that did those. Luckily, this person that you were corresponding with in the jail had integrity and did the right thing and turned you in. But for that, he probably would have been in jail. He probably would have been successful in framing it. And that's inexcusable. I don't care how much he hurt you. So,
Your Honor, if I might,
yeah.
Given Mr. Swanson's comments regarding the client's medical future, and I suppose some of the highlights and some of the good things that you pointed out, and appreciate the court considering those, is it possible to structure some of this jail time weekends due to those circumstances? Also, this situation which she leaves at home. I say that to the court, readily preparing my client for the idea of incarceration. I don't think for a second that it wasn't something that crossed our mind or her mind, Mr. Swanson's mind. I just ask if there's a way to structure that so that it isn't a complete, the water isn't completely cut off there. I think we could probably, I suppose, address both sides of what the court just said. Is there a way that the court could consider doing that so that these medical issues can be addressed, and obviously she would still pay the debt that you believe she owes to the society and this community?
Well, I don't want her to suffer medically. I haven't seen any paperwork that you've wanted. I'm not going to just do a flyby look at it now. So she's going to jail. We'll take a look at whatever paperwork you want to submit. We'll talk with jail administration, see if there's a way to get her the testing or whatever it is that she needs, figure out how urgent those sort of things are, and we'll make a decision from there. But today, she's going to.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will make sure the court file reflects these and appreciate the court's consideration.
This case, State of Michigan versus Jennifer Lynn Plumboff, revolves around a woman who attempted to ruin her ex-husband's life by plotting to frame him in a fake drug case. During the sentencing hearing, the court heard emotional statements from the defense attorney, Jennifer herself, the victim, Nicholas Plumboff, and finally the judge. The defense attorney asked the court to follow the recommendation in the pre-sentence investigation report, arguing that Jennifer had changed significantly since the incident. He described her as remorseful and said she had taken responsibility for her actions from the beginning. According to him, Jennifer had worked hard on improving her mental health, attended therapy, and rebuilt her life. He also mentioned that many people had written letters of support on her behalf, showing that she was more than just the mistake she made. When Jennifer addressed the court, she apologized directly to Nicholas for the pain and disruption she had caused in his life. She admitted that she was ashamed of the point she had reached emotionally and regretted hurting someone she once loved. She explained that after her marriage fell apart, she made terrible decisions driven by anger and pain. However, she said that hitting rock bottom forced her to change. She turned to faith, participated in therapy and group counseling, and became more involved in helping her community. Jennifer stated that although she was not proud of her actions, she was proud of the person she had become afterward. The victim, Nicholas Plumboff, then gave a heartbreaking statement. He explained that this was not simply a single bad decision made in anger. According to him, Jennifer spent weeks messaging an inmate, encouraging him to plant drugs in Nicholas's car so he would be arrested and lose everything he had worked for. Nicholas said he had struggled with addiction and had previously been to prison, but he had rebuilt his life through hard work. He found a job at a recovery center where he helped others overcome addiction and stayed committed to living a better life. Nicholas told the court that Jennifer knew exactly how hard he had worked to escape his past, yet she tried to use his history against him. He described reading the messages she sent, where she repeatedly expressed her desire to take away the job he loved and destroy the life he had rebuilt. He said that if the inmate had not reported Jennifer's messages to authorities, he could have ended up back in prison. He feared that no one would have believed his innocence, because people often claim they were framed in drug cases. Despite everything, Nicholas said he did not hate Jennifer. Instead, he hoped she would get the help she truly needed. However, he also revealed that he remained terrified of her. He had moved 3 hours away because he was afraid of running into her again. Fighting back tears, he admitted that he still worried she could find another way to hurt him. After hearing everyone speak, the judge delivered a powerful and emotional statement. The judge said the sentencing guidelines suggested a sentence between 0 and 11 months, but the court had discretion in deciding the punishment. He described Jennifer's actions as one of the most vile and disturbing things he had seen. The judge emphasized that Jennifer was fully aware of Nicholas's past struggles with addiction and incarceration, yet she tried to exploit those weaknesses to destroy his life. He pointed out that this was not an impulsive act. It was a carefully planned scheme carried out over weeks through repeated messages and financial arrangements with an inmate. The judge stated that if the inmate had not acted with integrity and reported the plot, Jennifer might have succeeded. Nicholas could have lost his freedom, his career, and his reputation forever. The judge said it was difficult to find words strong enough to describe how cruel and malicious her actions were. Although the court recognized Jennifer's efforts to improve herself, the judge made it clear that she still had to face the consequences of her actions. He sentenced her to 120 days in county jail and placed her on 2 years of probation. In addition, she was ordered to pay probation fees, state costs, a crime victim rights assessment fee, and a DNA fee. Jennifer's attorney requested that the jail sentence be served on weekends because of her medical condition and family responsibilities. The judge said he would review any medical records submitted and consider possible accommodations, but he made one thing absolutely clear: Jennifer was going to jail. The case ended as a powerful reminder of how revenge and bitterness can drive someone to make destructive choices, and how even a carefully planned scheme can ultimately be exposed, leaving the person responsible to face justice.